cmpradio.net. It's the station.
Welcome to cmpradio.net, the voice of Chester. Welcome to the wonderful world of Rich Blye, coming to you once again on Men's Mental Health Mondays, here to bring you all of the current events, most of the popular isms from one township to one city, Upper Darby, straight up Westchester Pike, all the way throughout I-95, coming across 476 to your airwaves and across your mobile devices, smart tablets and such and such and such. How y'all doing today? What's going on? How's everybody handling the snow? The snow Armageddon that we just experienced. It moved in really fast and got the heck up on out of here. Before I get started with anything, I want to give a shout out to every City of Chester municipal employee that was out there battling this storm at the height of it, and at the beginning of it, at the middle of it. Thank you so much for your hard work, your labor, for hitting spots that were areas of concern from the last snow. It is absolutely a definite improvement over the last snowstorm, which shows that through leadership conversations and having a get it done attitude can result in the positive result for taxpayers, residents, and our visitors that come to Chester to commerce. Again, big ups on the snow removal efforts overall throughout Delco. I can say Upper Darby definitely hit the mark, definitely today. Learned some lessons, listened to some people, appreciated the feedback from their employees, the township employees who have been doing it longer, who have been, doing it. There's a lot of people that would like to, armchair quarterback on what our municipal workers do, but a lot of our devoted employees that work for our cities, townships, and municipalities know these roads better than anybody else. They know the curvatures. They know where certain blind spots are. So you have to be really appreciative of someone else's work and the work that they do. So again, before I start my show, I want to give a big major shout out to all of the workers who worked through this little snowmageddon, getting people back on the road safely tomorrow as they commerce, go back to school and or work. Again, these efforts, by your knowledge and your stick-to-itiveness of making sure that residents, taxpayers, and citizens is definitely appreciated, and we definitely appreciate you. Welcome to the wonderful world of Rich Blye. As usual, when I start my show, I always start with prayer, and I always start with a scripture reading. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for these times, and we thank you for the fellowship of men and women that we have that are bonded in the spirit of your love. We thank you for the shedding of blood of your Son, Christ, on the cross for the remission of our sins. And we thank you for the fulfillment and the manifestation of the Holy Spirit in our lives so we can see each other both at peace morally and through love. Guide us through this night, guide us through this week, and guide us through our travels. Keep us all safe in the bonds of your harmony, O Lord. And these things I ask, amen. Scripture reading tonight is Ecclesiastes chapter 12. Is 14 verses, so it won't be that long. But I think that with the subject matter that we will be discussing today, besides the main topic of Mr. Bill Dandridge Jr., the picture man of Chester, I'm going to talk about why I chose him for tonight's segment. But before I do that, let me get to the scripture reading. Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. While the sun, or the light, or the moon, or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened, and the doors shall be shut in the street, when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. And when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and fear shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, and desire shall fail, because man goeth to his long home, and mourners go about the streets. Or even the silver cord be loosed, or the golden bowl be broken, or the pitcher be broken at the fountain, or the wheel broken at the cistern. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto God who gave it. Fear God and keep his commandments. Vanities of vanity, saith the preacher, all is vanity. And moreover, because the preacher was wise, he still taught the people knowledge. Yea, he gave good heed, and sought out and set in order many proverbs. The preacher sought out to find out acceptable words, and that which was written was upright, even words of truth. The words of the wise are as goads, Goads, and as nails fastened by the masters of assemblies, which are given from one shepherd. And further by these, my son, be admonished of making many books. There is no end, and much study is a weariness of the flesh. Let us hear the conclusion of this whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of a man. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of a man. For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. Those are truths and warnings. You know, most of these things come by morning. Anyway, let's get into my segment. But before I do, hold on, let me segue one more time. It's very important for me to talk about something that's coming up. Let me give you the news, current events before I start talking about this incredible Chester icon, Mr. Bill Dandridge Jr. To the family, the Dandridge family, the things that I'm about to talk about is because I look for a lot of forgotten icons in Black American history. And when I say forgotten, it's through my own study, through my own observations, through my questioning of people who are from Chester. Do you know who this man is? And I think that it would be incredibly remissive of me as a person who loves Black history, who loves to hear about Black American icons, especially those local, for this to come across the way that it did. I've never heard of the man. I did not hear of him. I did not know of him. And this is something that I'm excited about, because the time that I took to read about him, I am absolutely amazed. And you guys all know me. it really does take a lot to get me to the point where I'm really excited about finding something, so new and that I did not know. You know, I pride myself on being very knowledgeable, but to not know this about this icon here in Chester, and I know a lot of folks. When you see this, I know you know, and I respect that you know. But what I'm asking for my show today is to allow me to express my gratitude and express my feeling of looking at a champion in my eyes, in my opinion. I know a lot of people have a lot of different opinions about people that they've known or people that they've passed, or you have your own personal connection. I did not have a connection with this man, but I feel very connected from the time period and the era in which this man went about the business of connecting Chester with art. So this is something that's for me on the wonderful world of Rich Blye. I am only going to express factual information that has been written about him. Some of the excerpts I've gotten from his obituary, and I did find a newspaper clipping from the Delaware County Times when they did a write-up on him. But I just want to say that Chester, Delaware County, you guys have some real icons that have really blazed some trails for a lot of people to follow. And not just in the work that he did through art. The words that fly off the page was that this man, and again, I'm assuming this, but I don't think my assumption is wrong. I think that he went about his business in a very calm and reserved way, and that the appeal of his talent as an artist, he was able to convey a very enduring and loving type of personality towards whomever he met. I'm quite sure that all of us have contentions and probably have to raise our voice from time to time, but in reading about this man and the works that he's done, the fact that he's a graduate of Chester High, the fact that he, went to Moore College of Arts to perfect his craft and to do great things on canvas, on paper, and things of that nature. He came back to Chester to teach it. We've had many conversations about folks who do really well, leave Chester, but don't come back. We've had many conversations about those who have put Chester on their back and stayed here in Chester, and they get ignored. And I'm looking at a man largely who is definitely loved by a huge amount of people and remembered by a huge amount of people, friends, families, cousins, nieces, great-grandchildren, things of that nature. I speak to the wealth and the beauty of his family. But there's a lot more than just his family and the immediate close circle of friends and those who understand the history of this man, that I feel as though that this is something that just needs to be taught in the school. And don't get me wrong. When you have somebody as iconic as what this man represented during the time of his life, how does Chester, and folks, again, I'm asking the question, I'm not being sarcastic or anything like that, so please don't take my tone, but my tone is one of serious question. The man's an African chief from Chester. A real, bona fide, solidified, coronated African chief from West Africa, Senegal. Tubafana. I had to look it up geographically to see exactly where it is. So on the western tip of Africa. It has, tributaries and water inlets that come in and feed it. But during the time that he was coronated as this chief, it was like about 5,000 people, living in that area. Now it's, roughly over 1.7 million. But it was a safe haven, from what I understand, along with the late great Reverend Leon Sullivan, and that the two of them, and their families vacationed here, and from when I talk to people, they're like, "Oh, Mr. Bill, the picture man," and I'm like, "The picture man? What was he, a photographer? What was it?" And it was like, "No, he was an artiste." Not only just an artist, but a person who was extremely involved in his black community. Let's see, Chester's numbers right now is at 74% black American. At the time that he was doing this, Chester was like about 79% black American. So it's really not that far off that a person like Mr. Bill Dandridge Jr. was still meeting with the same kids and family members that grew up and had their own kids and had their own grandkids. And unless it's put in front of the faces of our children, his legacy pretty much is not promoted, in my opinion, like it should be. We chase down all of these abstract heroes that don't have nothing to do with Chester. They ain't put Chester on the map. They ain't do nothing for Chester. Like, I agree. How did Dame Dash get a key to the city? He ain't do nothing. Whose bright idea was to give a teeth falling out, failed executive a key to the city? Does this man have a what? I don't care. Listen. Okay, you know me. I don't care, bro. Listen, I'm gonna call it the way I see it. Because at the end of the day, I'm saying, does this man have a street named after him? What? See this. This is why when I talk about Black History, bro, when I say that things of significance, I have a group of people who follow me on my Jace page. That's the Juneteenth Artistic Collaborative Experience of Delco page on Facebook, if you choose, or I challenge you to come and learn something. That's what I'm talking about why this is significant, because we want to, don't get me wrong, we want to talk about the Beyoncés, and we want to talk about the Jay-Z's, we want to talk about, Unk, and, we want to talk about, this person, Spike Lee's, and all this other type stuff. And you got a guy who was part of the Chester NAACP, that he was part of the Chester Kiwanis Club, that he ran a daycare. Either ran it, provided the service, whatever, but he was involved, hands on, making impact daily, his entire life here. But we giving Dame Dash the key to Chester with his teeth falling out. Make it make sense. What are we really celebrating if we don't remember that here is a man that absolutely gave his life work of art to children and for adults? I want to read the newspaper clipping that I found about him. Hold on a second. Let me pull this up here real quick. Because, it's when I read it, I was like, wait a second, how come I didn't know about this man? How come I didn't know? How come nobody knows? Except for, people that really know. One second. I'm gonna pull it up for a second. I'm gonna pull it. Because I had it all queued up for a second, but then I was looking for something else. And sorry about that. I got it coming. But the news article, really spoke to, his legacy. And he had some very pointed things to say about the future, like affordable housing. He said, and I quote, "It's nice that they're building these nice houses, but who's going to live in them?" Oh, that's a direct quote. Chester. See, I say this a lot. Sometimes we have this image of what preachers and prophets are without understanding the spirituality of people who are delivering the message. And we may not have gotten it then, but we sure do get it now. We have icons who have warned us in the past that they've been in the same circles of the same legacy individuals who want to direct Chester's path without you being the driving force in it. So it's safe to assume, and again, I'm just assuming, I don't know, and again, I would. This is just me with my observations and with my readings, that this man understood that culture, understanding who we are, was the basis of the foundation of understanding knowledge through art. That he had rooms. Room 1 was basically you draw what you want and we see if you have an aptitude for the next phase. Room 2, move you up to the next phase and help cultivate your talent. Cultivation. Because as I see, and I quote, "What good is it to sow seeds if the ground isn't fertilized?" Hold on a second. Hold on a minute. And I'm reading these things, and this is from years ago. And this man has dropped jewels of pearls of wisdom that resonate today, right now, for Chester, in Chester. An icon. I'm still reading about this man. It made me automatically think of Coming to America in reverse. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, the guy, just a regular Chester guy, and you go over and now a whole chief, basically, a small prince, a king, in a very concentrated area. I've never heard of that except for Michael Jai White, him getting, some type of honor to that degree. But I never thought that I would absolutely be I keep trying to tell people why I love Chester. I find out new things about you guys almost every day, if not every day throughout the week. And this is why I want people to love Chester more. This is why I want people in Chester to love Chester more. Love Chester more. You guys have, if you could only stop your spirits for a half second and take the emotion out and look at some of these things logically, I really believe that you, Chester, can make a very big difference and impact in your neighborhoods and your communities. and solidify the bonds that you have with each other. I think part of the biggest issues that I've seen as an observer, again, just as an observer, is that we don't have a code of conduct established on how we need to treat one another. But I see that in the example of Mr. Mr. Bill Dandridge Jr., he knew that. And he had that ability to be accessible and reachable to a wide variety of people. We have those examples of leadership. And see, I'm real big on leadership. I'm really big on leadership because, unfortunately, we have to have people in government, and some people get elected and they're not even worth being a dog catcher. But then there's people who do have the skill of leadership, but are handcuffed by backdoor deals and silence of the lambs from these solicitors who keep making up laws so that way you don't know what's going on in your own community. The solicitors of every township, municipality, borough, and city are your enemies. They 100% are, and I'll say that plainly. Because if a solicitor is not working within the best interest of your council people to ensure that the people that they're elected by are taken care of, instead of helping write laws and ordinances against people in your township, municipalities, and cities, they're the problem. See, it's not about likability with an elected official or not. I can dislike an elected official based upon nothing or everything. But my understanding now is that what's gotten in the way and what's convoluted the success of communities and thriving is the fact is that we have individuals who are truly the outsiders. Because I can't think of any solicitor in any township, borough, or municipality that actually lives here. Most of them are from Montgomery, Bucks County. So they have no connection. So, of course, they don't care because they don't drive around these streets. Of course, they don't care because let's put it point blank. None of these solicitors come to your events. None of them. None of them. Not only do they not come to your events, they don't donate either. But they getting paid out the wazoo to put laws on you. Make it make sense for me. Because that's what I see. And I see it. I'm not saying it ain't true. I'm saying it's absolutely true. Because all you have to do is just go watch a meeting. And when you're asking why is this ordinance being put into effect, that was never how we did it here in Chester, blah, blah, blah. Well, somebody's trying to make money off of you, sweetheart. Kind sir. If an ordinance goes against the community and what's the best interest of the community, that means somebody's lobbying. That means somebody's forgetting about the people and not taking care of the needs of the people and not cultivating the growth of the people. We have icons like this man who quietly, unassumingly went about his business of teaching, reaching. Amazing. I'm honored to read this man's life and his legacy and see that one person can make a difference. And I'm quite sure he had people behind him and stuff like that, and, people that were motivated to his cause and stuff like that. But how does, civil action start? How does, being an advocate start? It starts with an idea and one person saying, I want to achieve this for my community. That's how CMP Radio got started. It didn't get started with a whole bunch of people. It got started with one man. That's how the Jace of Delco got started. It got started with one person. That's how Tailor Made Vets got started. It got started with one person. Most of these ideas are born out of necessity, yes, But that necessity is fueled by a passion, to want to see the improvement of a community, or be the bridge and the gap for resources that are lacking. Because we know, growing up during the 70s, and I'm gonna segue into that, how we were all lied to. And that's starting to come out because the youth are starting to question a lot of stuff, and rightfully so. Y'all keep asking these questions, because I can tell you right now, like I said, I'm soon to be 60. That means that I was born as a child from the atomic age of the civil rights era. In my lifetime, I've had the opportunity to hear from civil rights icons locally, like the Reverend Leon Sullivan, like the first black president of the Philadelphia, of the city of Philadelphia, Philadelphia Council, Ben Coleman. Rich, you know that? Yeah, Mr. Ben Coleman had a grocery store on the corner of my block. And his ice cream truck would pull up, and he would, he had an ice cream business, and he had that store as well as other various businesses and properties. And whenever we would have a meeting about neighborhood concerns, it was in his store on the corner of my block that I grew up on. You can cross-check me all you want. The street is called Penn Street in Philadelphia. The cross street is Wingo-Hocken Terrace. It was right on the corner. There's a garage across the street, Simonizing shop. Because a lot of people want to check you when you say, oh, you met this person. Yes, I did. I didn't realize that I would live this long to have these fantastic memories of, people who have gone on to be iconic in history and things that they've done. But that's where I learned from. As a child who's, first generation, the first person in my generation, sixth generation, freed American black citizen with the full rights, there's a duty and an honor and a privilege for me to remember whose backs that I stand on. And Chester needs to be reminded about that too. This man has artwork all across Delco. Let's see. Hold on. His artwork has been displayed at the DeShong Museum, the Delaware County Historic Society, Widener University, Crozer Chester Medical Center, Senator Paligi's office, the Bryn Mawr Trust Bank in Chester, the Chester branch of the YWCA, Immaculate Heart of Mary Catholic Church, St. Luke Community Christian Church, Swarthmore College, Chester Fine Arts Center, Our Lady of Angels, and the Salvation Army. There's no tours. There's no walking tours. There's no special seminars. There's no field trips. I mean, I'm not coming at the family. I'm coming at the people who tout black history to our children and have these programs. And once again, where is the local flavor of the icons that these kids can say, man, this man is a whole African chief. An African chief, man, like, come, bro, that's better than being president. You from Chester and you're an African chief? Man, you could come back here and tell people what to do. You know what I'm saying? You imagine the diplomatic immunity he had? Are you kidding? Wow. That's powerful. Listen, that's how I feel about it. That's how I feel about it. Especially since I'm reading it for the first time in my life. The things that he's done and the beautiful family that he's had and still has. all community related people. It doesn't get any better than that when someone has a legacy that great for a family to stand on. That means that he remembered the legacy of his parents and their parents. That means that he achieved greatness not just for himself, but for the legacy of his family and their bloodline. That's amazing, bro. Like, don't get me wrong. I love how we, listen, all history, Black history, I get it. I get it. But once again, where are the men? Without pulling out the big three, without pulling out, and you know who I'm going to say who the big three is. Everybody know who the big three is. Malcolm, Martin, and then insert anybody else. Oh, excuse me. The big three. Malcolm, Martin, Obama. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. They are civil rights icons. They are champions. They are champions. They are champions. Next, who else? Who else we got? Let's start local. We always talk about buy local, eat local, support local. Support your local icons and their history and their memory. Go to these places and take pictures and look up the life of this man, and maybe contact one family if they have a foundation, or if they have do tours of this man's work, or they do seminars, or they do a webinar or anything. Like, I'm gonna ask, I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna ask and find out, because I wanna know more. I wanna know more. What I did on my own. And I'm speaking this way, like I said, with great respect to the family. I'm not imposing anything other than what I have taken in for myself. And it's with a lot of respect. A lot of respect. There's nothing, like I said, I'm very super excited. So forgive my exuberance. It's not intentional. It's not intentional. I felt this way when I saw the Emblem Tunnel statue that's outside of the Radnor Municipal Services Building in Radnor, PA. And I've talked about Mr. Tunnel and the pride of Radnor. Here's a whole bronze statue of a black man who played for the New York Giants and played for Radnor High, and joined the Coast Guard, and through his service served his community as well. These selfless acts are in our Black American history, and they need to be honored locally, folks, locally. We have so much to offer the world. I think we should stop reaching for the world and let the world reach for us. I think that there's enough positivity in Chester that a program can be put together that exploits that issue collectively together. And when I say exploit, remember, exploitation has two definitions. Nothing that you can gain from, but something that you can add to that we all come up together with. Because I'm about that type of life. I'm about that type of, let's see what we can do for one another. With that being said, I want to segue into something that I've been talking about with several men of various walks of life. As everyone knows, if you're a content creator for cmpradio.net, I watch your shows. I watch your shows. I watch what the things that you do weekly, because I really feel as though that as a person that's part of this radio station, that's part of the podcast family, is to help support what you put out. I share your content. I share your content. I share your content. Not that I'm asking for you guys to do the same for me. That's not what I'm asking. I firmly believe that by sharing your content, that even if it's not for me, it could reach somebody else. There's always a need. There's always a need. And I may not need every bit of content that comes through cmpradio.net, but I've had folks who have let me know, hey, that segment that you put out the other day, I know it wasn't yours. That was exactly what I needed. Or I watched something that you were watching, when you shared it, and I gained something from it. Thanks for sharing that. I realize that we have a lot of folks who are in need, and sometimes it's just a recognition of value. We have folks that aren't feeling their most, valuable selves. So welcome to Men's Mental Health Monday. Value. My brother, Brian Sharif Taylor, constantly talked about everyone has value, Rich. Hold on. Everyone has value, Rich. You just got to look for it. Man, come on, man. I would say it just like that. Man, come on, man. I'm not trying to do that. But for the past 2.5 years, I'm starting to learn it. I'm starting to understand the teachings of someone iconic that is left for me while I'm here. It doesn't matter how old I am. It doesn't matter how much gray is in my beard. It doesn't matter. Is that we have to still carry on in a positive fashion, and we still have to stand on the backs of these giants, and we still have to teach our children the value of ourselves. So we need a code of conduct, gents. Right now, I'm talking to the fellas because it's Men's Mental Health Monday. How you feeling, fellas? Good? Great? Outstanding? Stupendous? Or you ain't trying to hear none of that? Well, stick around. You'll find something to make you happy. Because it's Men's Mental Health Monday, and we have to speak about these things. Men of value. What is your assessment of a man of value? Is it the money that he provides? Is it his sexual prowess? Is it the things that can be done for you if you pressure him or if you nag him? What is the value of the man in your life? And it doesn't have to be a husband-wife relationship. What about you, children, older children? What is the value of the man in your life? Your father, your uncle, your grandfather, your cousin, your nephew, your brother. What is the value of that man? Because once again, as we continue to proceed, we see that once again, the value of men, especially in today's age, and especially with the culture of Black American men, we are still being devalued because of certain stereotypes or other emotional responses that happen to other people not caused by the man in front of you. Men carry a lot. A lot. And I know people, you don't understand. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I don't understand the emotion, but yes, I do. What's hard for me, and I'm going to be very honest because, guys, I share my stuff. I share my successes and my failures with my therapy because it's good for me. It's good for me that I can be very public about it and say that I have some very great days. And then, you know, for those that don't understand that, you know, there's some things that just can't be talked about. But we're going to discuss them because depression decides to hit when it wants to hit. And it does. Oh, it does. Oh my goodness. It hits. And when it hits, it's a fight. And it's a devaluing of myself that I'm not good enough or that I did something so great that people don't even care that it was done, not for myself, but for someone. Now, don't get me wrong. I have a lot of folks that absolutely value me, and I love you guys forever. But they can't be with me 24/7. And they might be going through some things themselves, family matters and financial matters. So they can't turn it on all of the time for me. So I have to look at that man in the mirror. I have to put a smile on my face. I have to say my prayers, and I have to study my word, and I have to meditate, and I have to recognize what this symptom is and how to correct it. And that is finding the value of me. Finding the value of me. Don't get me wrong. I used to look for the the validation. Absolutely. We all have at some point in time looked for the validation. But there are people that are standing right next to you that hate your guts, but will be patting you on the back talking about, I'm here for you, I'm here for you. And then when you find out that they really were not there to validate you, that they were really there just to wait for you, the other shoe to drop, to watch you fall so they could be the first people to point and say, see, I told you about that dude. He wasn't all that. He wasn't all everything that he made himself out to be. That's why I always start by telling everybody I'm flawed. I can mess up at a moment's notice. Trust me, I can mess up. I can mess up. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Have messed up. Sure have. That's why I don't want to be put up on these pedestals of, I'm a great person. No, I'm a human being with flaws. Let's stay grounded and humble underneath my God. Let's stay grounded and humble. I'm thankful for my abilities to be able to do certain things rather well and to help people and to, of course, sustain my life. But also at the same time, even the mighty have fallen because of a puffed up situation of pride in their life, thinking that they're better than other people or better than, situations that they see other people in. I know what it's like to be hungry. I know what it's like to be without shelter. I know what it's like to not be loved. I know what it's like to be underappreciated. I know what it's like to be scorned. I know what it's like to be ridiculed. I know what it's like to be slandered. I know what it's like to be doxxed. Funny thing about it is that the majority of things that I just gave as an example, they were done by family and so-called friends, not strangers. People who were supposed to be allies and understood the mission, who understood that the growth that I was trying to promote was pride of an ethnicity and to have a celebration for that cause. And these very same people are now going to have Black History Month celebrations this week when they don't celebrate any part of the black culture whatsoever any other given time, only if it aligns with their narrative. We have people that are quoting our civil rights icons, quoting them, but they can't tell you nothing about their lives. I'm going to talk about another great man, since this is the last week of Black History Month, and as it pertains to isolation and depression and the devaluing of Black Americans. I want to talk about W.E.B. Du Bois, Dr. Du Bois, because we've had a lot of public officials that will Google anything and anybody and take a very generalized statement from that person's life and attribute it as to that's what he stood for. No, words and quotes are from a period of time that are situational, that are relevant to the environment in which the people are interacting and either need to hear or to be motivated by. They are not something that you take and you stretch it and then you put it on as your personal moniker. Like, case in point, I'm going to give you a story. So there's a certain person, he's elected official now, whatever, that was using the image of Mr. T to get to do a voters registration drive. And I took big time offense to it. Big time. And people were like, oh, you know, what you getting all mad for? That's just Mr. T. They ain't got nothing to do with you. But again, see, people forget themselves. Mr. T was United States Army, first of all. Mr. T was a person who was not into politics whatsoever. So to take his trademark license image and then to tout it around in the black community in an effort to coerce votes based upon a popular icon from the 80s and into the 90s is very disrespectful. And I need to say this to a lot of black folks. We have to stop allowing people to take our icons and just use it as a hashtag. We have to stop that. Well, I don't know we going to do it because I know y'all not French, but you can expect me to say something about it if I'm ever in your presence. And I'm going to say it loudly. Because you, unless you have a connection to that culture, unless you come from an environment of that culture, unless you have a real personal experience with that culture, you can't do it. Same way that I can't speak for Italians. I'm not Italian. I understand Italian culture, but I don't have the connection through the environment and the history to speak for Italian people. I can give you history. I can give you the connectivity that we have in culture. But that's based upon my own personal experience with actual Italian people. Same thing with Vietnamese people. Same thing with Greek people. Same thing with Spanish people. It's about those connectivities that we have. Part of the problem is that a lot of folks are walking around here that have no connections to our struggles and have no connections to our successes, but they want a bandwagon jumping on. They want a bandwagon it because it's popular, it's popping. And then they want to sow their little seed in there. Yeah, like Gavin Newsom. What the heck is up with that, man? You see, I got to ask these questions. This man said he's just like us. He can't read because he has a SAT score of 960. Vote for me. Vote for me. See, and this is what I have to say for my folks. Man, we was told to excel and be excellent. And you have these kids that are in these great programs so they can excel and be excellent. And then we turn around and elect dummies just because they said something that hit your emotion. It hit my emotion too. I was insulted. We got black children blowing away SAT scores. We got black girls that just solved 2,000-year-old mathematical equations that the top scientists in the world couldn't figure out, and they figured out 3 different ways. But we're going to allow this fool to say these things out of their mouths? Fools. It brings us down. This is what makes people look at us the way that we do, is because we give these little cursories to folks who might be close to us. Well, they didn't really mean it like that. Yes, they did. And they know that you're not going to push back on it because, once again, you want to feel close and comfortable. Close and comfortable. You don't want to be fierce and fearless. You want to be close and comfortable. If I was a black person in that crowd, I'd have told him to shut the heck on up. How dare you? Well, it's backlash online now. Trust me, he ain't winning no presidential nothing. I don't even worry about that. But I'm using that man as an example because we keep hearing these little heckle and jekyll things from folks that don't have anything to do with us any other given time except for when they want to come in and take something from you. They don't even bring a case of water. I've always said that about people who want something from you. They come empty-handed. And then they want what you got. Oh, I like your program. I was wondering if we could just attach this way and it would be a really big thing. And what do? They come up and set up the one table, and they come set up, and they call all the other trusted resource friends, because you got to be in the club now. You have to be a trusted member now. Trusted. What the heck is that? The neighborhood trusts me, but because the politicians say, well, he doesn't like us, or he's spoken out against us, or he's talked about me in the past, so we're just going to deny his platform. And you guys allow it. I said it once again. This past summer was the first time anywhere in any Delaware County city that I saw that the government opened up its doors to every nonprofit and said, go do what you do best. And we're going to come support it, no matter what it is. And to me, that's government. That they didn't pick and choose. They didn't shut people down. They didn't stop people's access, whether they liked them or not, whether they cared about their platform or not. The government looked at, there's a need. We don't want any dead children this summer. We don't want any elderly dying from, strays. We don't want any black men to go to jail. We don't want our black women out here fighting and carrying on and acting a fool. There was a code of conduct established this past summer, Chester. Whether you knew it or not, whether it was written, whether it was signed off by various whoever's, blah, 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 there was a code of conduct that from morning, noon, and night, anybody who wanted to help their community and help their kids got the green light. And that's why you won't see nothing like that in Upper Darby. And that's why you won't see anything like that in surrounding areas, because you have leaders who say, listen to me and listen only to me. And you see them people over there, I don't like them, so I want you to hate them along with me. And you go right ahead and hate them. How is that? Somebody who lives on the same block as you, got the same messed up automobile problems as you, probably have the same issues with your family and trying to navigate, the social economic, trend-setting world that we're in, and keeping our kids safe. Come up with a good program where your child can absolutely benefit from that program. They done put their heart, soul, money, time into it. But some elected official comes up to you and say, I don't like him, so you got to hate them in order for me to like you. Help me out. Help me out. Well, Rich, it's cause you said something about this person. Was it true? Well, yeah, but you know that you supposed to toe the line. You can't be saying stuff like that. Why? The missus is real good to us. And we got to get all pieces of the pie before we can start. Man, y'all been saying that since the 60s. And the kids ain't trying to hear it. And when I say kids, I'm talking about those 25 to 35-year-olds, because, I'm half their age. You know what I mean? They're half my age. So when they're starting to speak up, I'm listening, because they're the same age as my children. I see them as the adults and as the individuals. I know I can't tell those people what to do, but I hear the same questions that my children ask of me. And since they rely on me as a father to have some type of answer or some type of logic to the reasoning as to why they're still going through the things that they see that we went through in the 60s, I'm saying, hey, this is the way. This is what they did. This was the path. This is what they did to me. This is what they did. Imagine a million me's. Imagine a million me's, because that's what it is. A million me's get hit with the same type of sentence. What do you think's going to happen? You're going to have a million different types of reactions to that, and I guarantee you, out of the million me's, maybe 10,000 will survive. That's what happened to us. It's okay to blame. It's okay. Oh, y'all didn't do your job. Y'all didn't follow through. Yes, we did. We were forgotten. Or you were told. You were told, don't listen to that man. We don't like him. You were told to hate somebody. Who told you to hate? Period. Who told you to hate? Who told you it was okay to hate? Who told you that? It's okay to dislike somebody. But what you hate me for because I spoke the truth? I'm going to keep speaking the truth. I might even speak the truth about you. The truth's being spoken about me. The truth has always been spoken about me. And guess what? Yeah, well, that's a lie. I didn't do that. This is what I did do, though. This is what I said, yes. 97% of the time, trust me. Yeah, you gonna get exactly what it is. I don't filter it. I'm not supposed to. I'm not supposed to PC it just so I can, be your friend. I'm not going to do that. I have discussions with my friends all the time, and I love them dearly. I love them dearly. But if they're saying something that I know that's not universally true about me, unequivocally wrong, you're going to hear that. No, that's not how I feel. This is the way that I feel because of this experience, not because of somebody's belief or ideology. Everything that I talk about comes from a place. I've had opportunities in my life that if I had continued on a certain trajectory, I knew I'd have been set. But yes, racism was the major factor in me not getting to where I thought that I wanted to be in my life. God had different plans for me, by the way. But at that time, racism absolutely played a factor in it. And the way that they did is that they didn't do it against my black skin because the victim was black or whatever. They did it with my intelligence because they wanted to send a message to me that no matter how smart you think you are, boy, we gonna kick you out in the street. And let's see if you survive there because you got no connection because you're not from the streets. And I'm not from the streets. I'm not from no gunplay. I don't do that. I'll be the first one to tell you, like Dwayne from What's Happening, no, I'm not, I'm no killer. I'm not a killer. I'm a defender. I defend, but I'm not looking to hurt nobody. I'm not looking for a fight. I don't pick fights. I mind my business. Oh yeah, hey, mind the business that pays you. I come on this show and I get paid to talk about observations, by the way, folks. And that payment is through my loyal followers and listeners who see me every week and thank me for having my show. So that's how I get paid for that. But other than that, if somebody's not getting hurt in the street, somebody not putting their hands on something, and I see somebody arguing, I'm on to my business. Keeping it moving. If I see somebody talking about somebody, this, that, and the third, keep it moving. I do want to say this, though. My loyalties with people are based upon this. If somebody comes to you, talking to you about me, and you don't say, well, did you talk to Rich about that? And I found out you had that conversation with that person and you ain't bring it back to me, we ain't gonna be friends either. I wouldn't be mad at you because I'm gonna tell you right now, I have many, 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 many people, and they'll tell you in a heartbeat that people have dogged out or tried to dog out, and the first thing I did after I heard it was, ring. Yo, guess what I heard? What? So-and-so got something to say about your situation, blah, blah, blah. What's up with that? Oh, yeah? Yeah. Because people have to understand something. A lot of people eat off of their name and their street cred. And for some of you, especially you elected officials who ain't never been attached to the street whatsoever, don't understand that. And a lot of people give you grace. A lot of people are very understanding about that. That's just, how politics is or whatever. I don't. I believe that if you are man enough, because I don't debate women on Facebook and I don't debate women in public. I don't debate women at all, period. I don't. It's not very what I would call manly. That's my opinion. That's the way I live, and that's how I'm gonna stay. I don't argue with women on Facebook because it carries an emotional value. They're gonna get into it. They're not gonna like the way that I said it because I'm just gonna be point blank with it. This is what I do. This is how I said it, and that's where I'm at. You can't change the opinion of somebody who has experienced what you're talking about. You can't change that life moment in their life just because you have an opinion about it and you ain't been through it. If you never been to prison, how you gonna tell somebody what jail is like? If you never had a baby, I'm sorry. I know some of you, pediatricians and some of you nutritionists and some of you, healthcare workers and everything. I know you learn what you learn and everything like that. But I'm going to be very honest and I'm going to keep it real. Unless you have a child, you can't tell nobody what it's like. You can't tell nobody what your child is thinking or what their emotional range is. You're going off of a scale that you learned from a book, basically a test tube baby. Yes, you have, hours in and doing this and everything like that, but you get to clock out. You get to go home and have a cocktail That same mom that you diagnosing with this, that, and the third got to go home and deal with that ADHD. Got to go home and deal with that child on the spectrum. Got to go home and deal with that child that's physically disabled. And while your advice and everything like that is great, I'm not knocking it, but that doesn't make you the expert. It doesn't. The experts will always be that attentive, caring, responsible parent whose eyes are always on their prize 24/7. Every breath they take, every move they make, every smile they fake, they'll be watching. That's what it's like. So to sum up, when we talk about value, everything that I just talked about, that's part of a value of a man. That a lot of times we don't get to bring this out because we're critically judged for just saying it. Well, why do you feel that way? Because I felt that way. Why does there have to be a reason? Why can't it just rest on what it is and let it be what it is? That's the hardest part for a man to be expressive, is that we are expected to do that for our counterparts, the ladies, or your significant other, whichever it may be. We are expected to be this way towards you. But can I tell you, 8 out of 10 times it is not reciprocated, and that's a very large number. It's not reciprocated. It's not. I was, there was a post that was made about what was one of the things that now that you didn't do when you were younger in a relationship. And I said, point blank, my communication. My communication was horrible. Horrible. I was one of those beat your chest guys. Yes, I was. I'm the man. I'm the man. I'm the man. I was the man because I attached my money to it. Straight up. Then that George Bush recession hit and humbled my black self real quick. Woo! Imagine, going from making something out thousands to becoming the Domino pizza delivery dude. You get humbled real fast. Real fast. And that's what happened to me. It took my environment imploding. It took situations for me to lose what I thought I had built up in my own pride and all in my, self-vaunted, value of myself. Not narcissistically. I didn't think I was the shit. It's just that I know what I'm doing, and I did. But I was sarcastic about it. And that's messy. It really is. It really is, because, it comes across condescending. It comes across demeaning. And, nowadays, I have to make sure that I'm smiling when I'm talking to folks so that they don't think that I'm being that way when I'm explaining certain things. I'm not. It's just that I'm going to tell you guys what it is. Like I said, I share it. When I'm assessing, I take the emotion out. That's literally just it. I take the emotion out of the equation. I don't deal with it, because no emotion has ever solved the problem. No emotion has ever solved a problem. It hasn't. If you're overly emotional, if you're giving too much love to something, that doesn't solve the problem. That's going to push that person away too. Because now you're ganging up on them, and now they're making them feel the pressure. They're going to back up from that too. So yes, overstimulation of love can cause a problem too. A lot of people think, oh, well, I'm just showing you love. I'm just showing you love. Well, too much of a good thing can make you sick. If you have too much ice cream, can't you get sick? Don't you get the bubble guts? The lack of love is basically the same feeling, except it's the feeling of starvation. And there are folks who are very talented at understanding that value that a man needs love and will give it and then just snatch the rug from up underneath them because you know that's going to make him come to heel and have to depend upon you. Men, learn to love yourself. Not in a vanity way. Learn to love yourself. Say stuff to yourself. Listen, I look at that mirror and I look at that guy in the mirror and I say, hey, you so handsome. You know you're handsome? Yeah, not in a vanity way. But I know that I'm not going to get a compliment today or tomorrow. So I better compliment myself. When I brush my hair, when I brush my teeth, when I trim my beard or anything of that such, self-grooming or whatever, I look at myself and find the value of me because it is important. And that's where men have to remember you have to be. No matter what you give to your mate, no matter what you give to your children, no matter what you give to society, you make sure you take out an equal measure for yourself. Stop letting people tell you that you're not supposed to feel good or proud about yourself. 10 years ago, I wrote a post. Epiphany. It is okay to be a proud black man, except that you can't be all three at the same time. And 10 years ago, I got, what you mean by that, Rich? What you mean by that? And 10 years ago, it still stands. Because when a proud black man stands up, there's always forces that want to knock him down. Always. You got too much pride. I'm sorry. There was days I didn't have enough. I might be overcompensating today. I just might. Proud. I can't be proud of my accomplishments. I can't be a proud dad. I can't be a proud this. Then let's get the black. Let's get the black. Oh, why you call yourself black? Black is just a color. It is. Black has already been defined as a race in the Constitution of Haiti. Oops. 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 Yeah, that's going to be a trigger storm. That's going to be a trigger storm. But see, once again, we got to talk about truths, right? Because these codes of conduct that I'm talking about, when I drop these truth bombs, this the truth. Go look it up and then come back and mess with me. We can figure it out together. But you're going to take the truth. You're going to take that spoonful of sugar with that castor oil on it, and you're going to put it in your mouth, and you're going to swallow it like Grandma told you to. Yes, you will. Because you ain't going to have a choice. Because once you get to a reading of the words and it comes across that when the Constitution of Haiti was written, it didn't say that the people were going to be called Haitians or Dominicans. It says black. Don't fight me. Don't get mad at me. Don't come on my page. You don't know what you're talking about. Yes, I do. I wouldn't say it if it wasn't true. Look it up. Call my bluff. I'm waiting for people to call me a liar. Please call me. Please find anything that I'm saying different about the Constitution of Haiti, about being black, and the way it's written, and understand that Haitian is a term that was made up once the country was split between the Dominican Republic because they didn't want to be known as black. Oops, did I hit that nail on the head again? Yeah, because I've heard that from Dominicans. Ooh, I'm in trouble. Why not? Hold on. Because I'm going to read something here. Thank you, my brother. Yes, indeed. Mm.
So the island, after fighting off the French,
Yes.
after fighting off the Spaniards,
Mm-hmm.
after fighting, the island was split into two.
Yes.
Dominican Republic on one side,
Mm-hmm.
Haiti on the other side. Yes, when they first wrote their constitution, they were black.
Mm-hmm.
When the land was separated, it was the island of Hispaniola,
Yes.
right? But when the island was separated into two different nations, they took the name Haiti.
Yes.
I don't know who gave the name Haiti. That's something we have to ask the Delvers when they come in. But that island was fought for by Africans
Yes.
first.
Yes.
That island was shared amongst Africans and Spanish-speaking, I guess, natives, people that were on the island. So for me, it's all about understanding first that we're all one, bro. Dark skin, light skin. I met a dark skinned Pakistani the other day, and I was like, hold on, hold on. What do they consider you? He was like, what do you mean? I said, no. What do they like? Are you a black, African Pakistani? Like, do they? No. Why not? Yeah, that's strong, ain't it? Yeah, hit your chest. And for me, it's just a point in history where we have to question why. And you were saying earlier, who taught you how to hate? When I look at pictures, like they were doing the Fallcroft when the family moved into a black, like you see the hate in the little kids. What are they mad about?
A learned emotional response.
It's a learned emotional response. So my father taught me, yes, to love everyone. But if someone that is not your skin tone tries to take advantage of someone standing next to you, you are next. The oppressor. They move down the line like that. So how can we as a people who have been oppressed for eons, for years, not stand up for those that are being oppressed now, even though it's not us, even though they're not coming for us? They've already set the traps in our community for us.
I'm going to say it again, bro. We have to have a code of conduct because, again, there are folks that are being oppressed that are coming to this country, but they already have people here, okay? Or they already have enclaves of communities here. And they're coming in with the same attitude that the ones that came before of attributing themselves with us as a means, as a necessary to get to the next level.
You say us. It's
Black people, black.
It's not all of us.
No, I know it's not all of us, but
Right.
again, it's not all
Because
of them.
there are those
Right, and it's not all of them either.
that there are those groups of us that don't want to talk to us,
Right.
that don't want to build with us.
Oh no.
So when you think about that and you see dysfunction over there, why would you want to participate in anything that they got going on over
I'm
there?
not. See, here's the thing. I've already excluded those guys from the equation because I already know that they're not community oriented whatsoever. Okay. So when I say us, they're not included. You know what I mean? And I think that when I say like how we should come to the table for this code of conduct, those that will show up, like when these bonds were made in the 60s, bro. When these bonds were made, Reverend Leon Sullivan was down south. He happened to come up here to Philly. So you can imagine the commute back in the day between Chester with Mr. Bill and with Reverend Leon Sullivan in Philadelphia, it's still a commute. But those bonds and those code of conduct between men who shared a common bond and wanting to help the community, that's what's forged.
Because they wanted to help.
You're right, because they wanted to help.
Not help themselves. You have those that help,
right,
and those that
help themselves.
So once we understand who's helping us and who's helping us to see better and understand better and communicate better, once we understand that, that's when everything comes together. But until we get to that point, like you said, the code of conduct, I think is very important. Because for a long time, I always thought that a drug dealer was selling drugs to buck the system.
Right.
I always thought that was a way of rebellion, right? Saying F the police and all that other stuff, until I realized that people were in it to make money for them.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I thought we were supposed to make money for us so we can say, like, that's the only way money comes in, right? But
I'm gonna give this to you this way, right? Because like I tell you, I'm not from the streets, but I got family that was in the streets. I'm gonna say before JBM and the Jamaica Shower Posse and all these other gangs that came in and was doing all of that, there was a loose code of conduct around a lot of these individuals. There was it was a certain, I wouldn't say a certain respect, it was a certain respect for business, which was, again, a code of conduct.
right.
And when you lose leadership, when you lose people who kept the peace and said, oh, you got beef, you take it outside, or you take it around the corner, you take it in the alley, somebody get a steak, somebody get a bottle of beer, you come back, you know who's getting the steak, you know what I mean, the guy with the beers, I told you so, da-da-da. Those were the codes of conduct that we had growing up. This is why we didn't need guns. This is why my generation, we did not need a gun. If I had a beef with a man, yo, what's up? What you say? Can I get a fair one? Get in the street, get your fair one. It's over. Nobody had to die.
No blood, no foul.
I mean, it was blood.
I'm saying no blood, no foul.
Yeah. But nobody's mom had to prepare for funeral arrangements. We didn't have that because it was a code of conduct.
And it was dead right there.
Oh, it was deaded. Right then and there. You might get the the girls and everything like that. That's why as men, when you got a beef with somebody, you don't do it in front of everybody. Take that, man. I tell people all the time, come meet me for a cup of coffee.
Please.
So you can get whatever it is off your chest.
Take it to the park.
By ourselves. We don't need to put on no show.
At all.
They gonna know if I got a steak on my eye. That happens. It happens. Ain't the first time I had a black eye. I've had black eyes. You just busted lips. Yeah. You know what I mean? Cracked ribs, 5 holes in my body, gunshot wound. Like, come on now. Like, I'm not bragging, but I'm just saying that's the life I had lived at that time, and that's the morals and the values that I had towards somebody else. If I had a beef with you, I didn't want your life. I wanted my respect. You ain't gonna sit up here and say all this type of stuff on the playground and then think you just gonna walk away with it. And I think that's a big part of the problem nowadays, is that too many people are walking around without getting boop-bopped in the mouth for some of the stuff that they say out of their mouth. Because now you can get away with it now because, I'll call the police. And again, these lawyers, these solicitors, like to make a lot of money off of your domestic issue, blah, blah, blah. It's just funny to me. But let me give you, hold on a second. Let me give you the 6 events that changes a man's life forever.
6?
6.
Number 1.
No.
Oh, we starting at the bottom?
No. I ain't gonna give you 6. I'm gonna give you 8.
You gonna give me 8?
Mm-hmm.
We starting at number 1. What number we starting at?
You can start wherever you want.
No, you reading it.
Holding your child for the first time.
Yeah, that's life changing.
Dynamic. Dynamic.
I think it was different for me. Holding my daughters was something, but holding my son
was everything.
knowing what was
a mini me.
no, because all right, my son was born November 8th. I was going to jail. I was 18 to 36, so I knew months, and like just holding him and having an opportunity to promise to him as a baby that I would never leave him again, bro. Like, and I meant that.
Right.
You feel me? Like,
right.
I'm like, look, I gotta go, and I'm saying this to a baby. As I'm saying it to him, he pooping out little yellow poop. You feel me? Like, and it didn't even matter to me. This the day I'm turning myself in. You feel me? Like I got poop all on my sweatpants or whatever. I'm turning myself in. I'm just like, yo, I will never leave you again. Mm-hmm. And I mean that. Right. And it was life changing because in that moment I realized what I had to do. I had to fix what I was doing wrong. And try to change a little bit. I changed some things, but not everything, right?
It's still a process, bro.
It's a process.
It's still a process.
You go through that, but holding your child. I want to say I'm going to save that because that could be number one unless you got something else that pops up. So come on, let's go.
The death of your father. Yeah. I know I was going to hit hard, but like I said, welcome to Men's Mental Health Day. Like I said, I watch everybody's episodes, bro. I'm here for the healing. We're going to talk about it so we can deal with it. That's the only way, bro. The death of my dad, I'm going to say, was the second biggest impact of everything that ever happened to me in my life because of the impact that he had for my life.
So you had your dad. My dad was very influential in the beginning years of my life. Now everything that I do, you know, I use his discernment, the things that he did, the things that he went through, the things that he discovered, to guide me. Mm-hmm. You feel me? But my father died when I was 12.
Right.
So I was a kid, and my father was like the warden of the jail. Mm-hmm. No outside. Yeah. When he died, I went outside. Yeah. You feel me? So I was thrown into a lifestyle that I had no idea about. I had no understanding.
Oh, welcome to the club.
Never knew how things worked out there. Now, what I always said, if it was a possibility that I could have had my dad for 12 more years, I would have graduated college and I would have been different. Yep. You feel me? Like my whole
we know that because of the impact of who our fathers were. Right. You know what I'm saying? Number 3, getting a call that someone that you truly loved is gone. I'm going to tell you like this. My Aunt Brenda passed away Valentine's Day, 2001. And out of all of my family members, my grandmothers, my mom, and everything like that, you know, this is an exclusionary thing. This particular aunt, my Aunt Brenda Stanton, was absolutely my favorite aunt. And I was in Waldorf, Maryland. I was breaking sales records while I was working at this, you know, training for a job. And I'm down there in the kitchen on this line, just tearing steaks up, tearing them out the frame, ticket times, everything. They like, you're breaking a new sales record. Look at the numbers. You know, I think we did like $116,000 in sales on the day, and I was the main one on the grill, so I was cooking every steak that came in. And I went back to the hotel room, and I got the phone call that my aunt had passed away from complications of lupus. Mm. I was alone. Mm. I had nobody. You know what I mean? Nobody. So you in a hotel room, strange man, strange land, everything like that. And I lost it. Right. I lost it. Like the hotel was cool. You know what I mean? They understood what I was going through, right. So there was no charges pressed or anything like that. But my Aunt Brenda was the truth, bro. My Aunt Brenda was the truth. You know, when everybody talk about that cool aunt, right. You know, the one that roll up the J's and be having the parties and everything like that. That was my aunt. She kept it real with you. Like, she gave you real.
Pay attention.
Yeah. Like you knew that when she said something, she moved that way.
It.
You know what I mean? She meant it. And I never questioned that. I never questioned my aunt. I never had that feeling of having to question her. You know what I mean? I mean, not even just question her, but her moves. You know, her household solid, husband, children, job, you know what I mean? Circle of friends. If there was a flaw, I didn't see it. If there was a flaw, I didn't see it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying she was perfect. I know she wasn't perfect, but she was perfect for me.
Yeah, my sister called me. I just dropped. I got a phone call earlier that something was wrong. And I called my sister and I said, you got to go check on mommy. And she went over. And as I'm leaving the hotel room, because I was watching Jordan at the time, we were staying at the hotel room. The night before, I called my mom, and I was just upset. I wanted to quit on my job. I didn't feel like what I was doing was really getting through. Not just to my people, but through the other wall as well. And I got the phone call, and I'm riding down the highway. I just started bawling, started crying. I'm racing. Like, from the time I drop off Jordan, the next thing I really can remember is pulling up to where she was and walking in and seeing her sitting there and holding her and knowing that she's gone. My mom won't yell at me again. So yeah, that's okay.
Number 4. Watching the woman you love fall out of love with you.
Boy, number 5.
I knew that was going to be a skip.
Number 5. Number 5.
This doesn't pertain to you, but this pertains to me. Burying your child.
I can only imagine. Listen, I had a dream that my son was in a coffin, bro. And it changed my everything. Because the only thing that he could do in these streets that I haven't done is die on him.
Right.
And I'll be damned if he did.
Bro, let me tell you.
I can only imagine how you felt.
I woke up. I woke up, and I still do. But I woke up praising God for allowing me to live and watch my children grow up. I mean, I always thank God for that. And I would always tell my kids, like, the biggest part of the biggest blessing in my life are my children. And I tell my children that all the time. You know what I mean? You are the reason why I am. For real. You are. Without you, I wouldn't be a dad. Without you, I wouldn't have elevated myself into a certain points of manhood, even with my failures. Like, to be able to talk to my kids now about where I messed up at, I can talk about it now. Whereas opposed, when I was younger, I don't want to hear it, Dad. Now I can say, hey, listen, this is where I was because I was doing that. I was drinking. I was doing this. I wasn't in my right mind. I was partying too much. You know what I mean? And the thing about it is because my children are adults, I can have these adult conversations now without feeling like, I got to hold something back. No. What you going to do to me now? Not be my kid? What you gonna do? Stop being my kid?
That stop being my kid or being mad, like, because I've been stuck.
Right.
I broke the first family up. Right. From that, I have multiple mothers of my children.
Right.
And like I said, I love everyone equally, the same. Right. Because they gave me a child. Some I'm able to do extra for, you feel me? I know my oldest kids, they realized who I was when I was out there running the streets. Like,
right.
My daughter had a conversation, she said, Dad, I didn't know you was doing all that. Like,
right.
That's crazy. You feel me? Like, but that wasn't stuff that I told her. That was stuff that she heard.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So she's like, Dad, did you do that? I said, yeah. Yeah. She was like, I didn't know you were doing all that. And then for my younger kids, they have the experience of me starting a radio station and putting something not before them but in front of them. Right? This is what your dad works for. This is what your dad grinds for. You feel me? It's not going to be a whole bunch of money coming out of here. You feel me? Because I'm not searching for money, but when the money comes, I got you.
That's the same way. Like my 4 oldest children got to see and know the street side of me.
Right.
My middle and youngest children got to see the professional. They got to see the button-down shirt. Hey, how are you? You know, they got to see that part of me. So it was a deep contrast. You know, they all have their different opinions of me. Trust me, they all have their different opinions. I love them, each and every one of them. But from time to time, I'll hear, well, you didn't do that with this one. You didn't do that with this one. And I'm like, I changed. By the time I got, you know, by the time I didn't know about this, but now I know about that. And this is the part of being a grandparent now, is that you've been through parenting, so now you can't mess up as a grandparent. Like there's no excuse for you to mess up as a grandparent. If you messed up as a parent, you should be great as a grandparent.
Awesome.
Yeah, you should be the most awesome. And I'm not talking about spoiling. You should be the voice of reason. You should be the voice of wisdom. You should be the example. Well, like you really should. Like you should not be the Maya granny, the one with the body with the face that looked like a train wreck. I don't care. That.
But that's how.
How old is she? 78.
Yeah.
Man, stop.
That's how it goes.
Stop.
Well, what you gonna do?
Nothing.
If you
that ran across my feed the other day, bro. I was like, girl, if you just don't go sit. Listen, she fine from the neck down.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I know. Listen,
she a bees in the semi.
Yeah, whatever.
Put a bag over it.
Yeah, but that still screams self-esteem issues. It screams.
It will always scream self-esteem issues.
It screams it. I don't care. Well, she confident about it. Listen, I get it, but when I saw it, I said, wait a minute, who the hell is this? And I.
Yeah, because you was
I never saw her before.
You was intrigued.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. No, her body's fine as hell.
Yeah.
No, her body's fine because
Right.
I didn't see her face.
Well, the body makes up for the face.
No, there's no such thing. Stop it, bro.
Put a pillow over it.
No. Realizing you have become what you hated.
Yeah, that's real. I don't want to say I
not hate it, but something that
despise the things that you didn't like.
The things you didn't like.
Yeah.
You wind up at some point in time, not long term.
Because everything that you dislike, you end up being. I didn't like my mom when she smoked cigarettes. I smoked cigarettes. You feel me? Like so I tell my kids all the time, don't dislike what I do.
Right.
Because if you dislike it, you'll end up doing it. Right. I know people that are mad at their parents because he was getting high. I said, you smoking weed around your kids.
Right.
You doing the same thing.
Doing the same thing.
You was mad at your parents because they was always drunk. Look at what you're doing, right? So I think it's hereditary, though.
It is.
You know what I mean? And,
it is.
And their wants and their desires and the things that they're trying to do are passed down to the children. That's why you have to try to change the narrative. You have to try to teach them to want more.
I think that adults should do adult recreational activities away from their children, just like our parents and our grandparents did.
I can't say the word.
Well, maybe yours. Yeah. But in my case, we heard it downstairs, but we ain't see it. You know? And in my grandmother's case, we ain't see it at all. We ain't see it. We knew about the bar, but we were told, don't you go past the bar. That means you couldn't even go to the door. Because if you got caught, the neighbor, yeah, I saw a little Ricky by the bar door, looked like he was looking in here. And the drunk, your drunk neighbor tell on you. You know what I mean? So again, we had certain disciplines where we didn't try it because we knew what the repercussions was going to be.
Absolutely.
There was going to be, see, and that's what I'm saying. There's consequences. You have to make sure your child understands that there's consequences for not listening or for your bad behavior. Let's get to number 8. Being truly alone for the first time.
I don't think I've experienced that.
I can live inside my head, bro.
And that's the thing. I mean, I hear people think I'm crazy. I hear voices, like not voices telling me to do things, but voices telling me to get up. Voices telling me to move. Voices telling me to leave. Voices telling me to sit down. Voices telling me to, it's time to roll. You feel me? Like, so I'm never alone.
No,
Even when I was upstate, is when I really heard my dad's voice, because I had removed all the alcohol and all the marijuana and all the distractions, everything that was blocking. I'm looking out the window, and he said, "Didn't I tell you, dumbass?"
Man, and just hit you like a lightning bolt, didn't it?
I said, "What you say, Sally?" I said, "I ain't say nothing." I was like, psh.
Your dad comes through loud and clear.
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear.
And even now, you feel me? Like when I have moments and I'm meditating, we sit down and we talk. And I had a situation happen where I was going to get a MRI, and things haven't been going good for me. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I quit both jobs. You feel me? Like trying to understand the station. So it's like my personal money is super low. You know what I mean? But I can still do what I need to do to pay bills and things like that. But I was in the MRI, and I was just closed my eyes, and it felt like I had a bunch of people standing around me. You feel me? Like, and my mom was like, "I'm proud of you." Right?
I'm gonna ask you this question straight up. And I'm gonna ask this question straight up since you're saying this. Do you feel your ancestors around you sometimes?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Because my grandmother.
because I hear a lot of people talk about, that's a distraction. That's just evil spirits and everything like that. But I'm like, no, because I get certain. I'm gonna say it to you like this, right? So I'm shoveling out the American Legion today, and we got snow. We got snow everywhere, blah, blah, blah. Snow blower going. My jacket's clean. I got no snow on it, the whole nine. I'm walking into the building. Next thing I know, a snowball hits me in the head. An actual snowball. But there's nobody around. I look up, and I say, Brian Sharif Taylor, you clown. And I'm, calling my brother in front of the American Legion, because I got pelted with a ball. It was an actual snowball. And knowing how my brother is, that's exactly something that he would have done. There are times where I really feel the presence of my ancestors about me. And usually it's around times where I know that it's like some type of grave or critical danger where I need to have certain protections. That's when I feel it the most. I can say that after my father died, I kind of felt and heard his presence more. Now I just hear, I'm proud of you. I hear, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. So I feel that positive reinforcement. And again, I like to believe it's my dad.
No matter how you see it or feel it, I know for several years of my life, I was always in a situation, but not really all the way in the situation. So, we done got shot at several times. Things done happen.
Right.
It's a bullet right on the side and back of my head. It's like, how the fuck did that miss me? Right. People shooting at a car that's moving. We're in it. Somebody running up on the block with an AK ready to spray and look at me and be like, yo, all right. You feel me? Like he got that because of you. You feel me? Like, and then you realize that, my dad was there the whole time. My grandmother was there the whole time. Whoever is next to me is there guiding me. So when I say I'm doing something for my people, I mean that, right? I don't need money.
Right.
I don't need validation.
Right.
You feel me? Like, I need to see my community do something different. That's trust again. That's love on each other again, because inside of that is where our power is. You feel me? And if we're still out here thinking we're going to get the same power, we have a different type of power.
Yes, we do.
It's not like their power. See, their power is money. You understand what I'm saying?
It's based upon economic flow.
Our power is love and compassion and grace and giving it to each other and lifting each other up and picking each other up and dusting each other off. See, if we do more of that, then they can't stop us.
Yep. We have to do that and reinforce the culture. When I say reinforce the culture, we can no longer allow people to divide us in what the culture is.
Where are we divided? It's
We're,
mostly.
I'm gonna say we're divided. We're divided generationally by the music, by the art, by the poetic license. There are certain things that have been allowed to be acceptable for a long time that now that you try to draw it back, you're getting pushback. And I'm gonna use hip hop as one. Hip hop started off as a birth of culture. It wasn't the culture. It was birthed
from culture.
Right.
Right.
Now it's the culture. No, it's not.
But that's because we're not in charge of it.
Exactly.
So anything that we create that we're not in charge of, it will be our detriment. You understand that?
But see this is what we need to let our young people understand, that if you pull back off of, we're not saying deny your place in time with the music and with the art or anything like that. We're not denying your time. Yes, it is your time. But you're not the greatest of all time. The greatest of all time set a platform for you to stand on. And the greatest of all time in rap is James Brown. Point blank, period. If we didn't have James Brown, we would not have the amount of samples that made rap music popular today, bro. James Brown and the JBs was rapping way before they called it that. They was writing it that way. And the beats that's in every hip-hop song foundationally that came out during the late 80s into the 90s was out of James Brown, somebody going in there, grandmother's record, and picking the James Brown song out of it and scratching it back, because ain't nobody was making no beats, bro. Nobody was making no beats. They was sampling. James Brown with the prison, everybody sampled his stuff. Everybody. Everybody.
What's wrong with that?
He ain't get paid.
Nigga, you ain't here to protect it.
Nobody. This is why we had to get that rule in, because there was no rule in.
You let the culture move forward.
No, there was no conduct for the culture. So when James got out, there were people that paid him, like Public Enemy. You know what I mean? That gave him, a couple dollars and everything like. He had to get with Full Force to make Static, to get his money back up, and Living in America. You know what I mean? The Rocky movie, Living in America, put James Brown millions back in his pocket. Right. But if it wasn't for that, all these artists got paid. All these record executives got paid off of James Brown music.
So you also have to look at who's in charge.
Of course.
Again, I love my people, right? And I think I was watching the ABA special. When you think of the ABA and the NBA, and how they were competing, and how the ABA came up with the 3-point shot, and the game was more electric, and that was us.
Yep.
You think about what hip hop, what R&B, what blues, what jazz, everything,
New Jack Swing,
everything that we contributed to music, just the basic drums, the 808s, just everything that we've contributed in this world. And you look at it, how can anybody be mad at anybody black when you think about everything that we've contributed, everything that we've given, but we forgot to give it to ourselves?
That's why we need a code of conduct moving forward. And
so let's come up with this code of conduct next show, bro. Like I'll be the first person.
Okay, you do me a
sign
favor?
it. Go ahead.
All content creators, this is homework for you too. I'm not doing this by myself. All content creators, y'all write down some things that you would feel as though that we could start together collectively as a code of conduct. And I'll also take some suggestions on my Facebook page also as well, folks, because this I'm firmly standing on this one point. Before we can move forward as a people and understand the love that we do have for one another, we also do have to understand the differences. We have to learn to respect those differences and understand that those differences do not define us, but they do define a point in time that makes us have the opinions that we do. But we still have to carry on. And in carrying on, we still have to come up with ways that we can say that I stand with you on this issue. I stand with you on this issue. I don't care if you're Republican. I don't care if you're Democrat. If you're going to put party over people, don't put anything on a piece of paper. I'm going to say that right now. If you want to put party over people, Don't put anything on a piece of paper. Don't contact me. Don't talk to me. I'm dead serious because we're moving in a new direction. We're moving. Now, before I go, and I got homework for next week, I have a poem by Eric Hansen, and you might have heard it. If you did, you can say it along with me, but it's something that I was looking at today, something I was realizing this week. Slowly I Return by Eric Hansen. Slowly I return. I lost myself in noise and speed, in chasing things I didn't need. But now I walk with a softer lane, one stitched with peace, not pain. I don't arrive in a grand display. I ain't showing up in a Bentley. I show up gently, day by day. A step, a breath, a choice to say that that's how I find my healing my way. No need for loud, no need for race, just learning how to hold my space. And every time I choose to learn, a part of me begins to turn. I am still learning. And I am open to learning so much more, especially from our youth. I'm interested in hearing from our young adults and our individuals, and I'm always willing to listen to my elders. Like I can sit down with my elders, and I can listen to them all day. I can. I wish there were times in the day that I could just sit down and talk to some of my elders and learn what they went through and add it to my consciousness. See, I just don't have conversations and have conversations. If you give me something useful, I add it to my conscious. Like Star Trek, I assimilate that. I'm going to assimilate that. So, again, folks, just remember, homework, code of conduct. How can we treat each other more efficiently in order to work together for the common cause? Again, you know what I'm talking about, code of conduct, okay? Not where you're looking to get something out of it. You're looking to bring something into it and not be a distraction. We've got too much of that already. If you want to be boss and you can't lead, be boss. If you can't follow a lead, don't. Just don't. You know what I'm saying? Don't. You know who you are. You know you can't take orders from a man. You know you can't take orders from a woman. You know that you can't take orders, period. You're not going to be able to write a code of conduct. You still have some growing to do. I can lead and I can follow. I can lead from the front, middle, and back. That's how I look at it. Somewhere somebody needs my assistance. Somewhere somebody wants to get up further and get up to the front, and they got the skills to, and the aptitude to do it. And, since I got gray in my face and they still, got the rugged, I want to help streamline them faster and cut away those fatty edges that's going to slow you down so you can get to that position. But don't you forget who put you there. Don't forget who put you there. You stand on the backs of giants. I'll see you on the flip side.